Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Latest, the official podcast of the Brock Press, where we take you beyond the headlines and do a deep dive into some of the many interesting articles written by our team this week. My name is Noah Nickel, and I am the editor-in-chief of the Brock Press, and as always, I'm joined by Holly Morrison and Jonah Dayton, our managing editor and editor-at-large. How are you both doing?
I'm doing good.
Also doing well.
Good.
Term paper season, so
Yeah,
quite busy.
Got a test tomorrow and then a term paper the next day, a bunch of group projects. We're rolling.
Oh, full-time classes. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you lucky man.
Hey, I did my time.
All right, okay.
With the nice weather we're having though, and the restrictions now pretty much all but removed, knock on wood. Life is coming back to normal. I'm feeling better. I don't know about you guys. Just in general, things are a little brighter.
The clock just moved back.
Savings.
Well, literally daylight savings. Yeah. You're right.
It was weird. I had to put my sunglasses on this morning on the way to school because it was bright. It's never bright.
Yesterday I came back from campus at like 5 and it was darkish.
I know. That's
Don't
the
like
worst
that part.
part. That is the worst part. But regardless, life is kind of coming back to life. And with that, we have a lot more to talk about this week, which we kind of all agreed on that, there's, we're getting back into the swing of things. So that's nice. Only took half the year. So, almost 2 years.
It took a year and a half for us.
I was going to say almost 2 years. Good Lord. But with that, we're going to get into it. We have some great topics today. So let's get into it. So the first article for this week is Devani's living wage article. Find the link to this article and all the others in the description. But her article talks about the new living wage calculation that was released by the Niagara Poverty Reduction Network. So for 2021, the determined living wage for the Niagara region is $18.90 an hour. And so in the article, she kind of contrasts this with the announcement from the Ontario government that they will be raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, effective in the new year, January 1st, 2022. So I just wanted to clear this up before we kind of get into it because it's a little bit confusing. So the living wage calculation, to explain it simply, and this is just from their website. I don't purport to know any of this before looking into it for this discussion, but the calculation they create using weighted averages of three different reference households, so like hypothetical collections of people and how they would have to afford to live. So the reference one is a family of four with two adults and two children. Reference two is a single parent family with one child. And then reference three is just a single person living on their own. And it assumes that all the adults in those scenarios are working 35 hours a week, full-time, throughout the entire year. It's kind of, and it weights those. I'm not sure how it weights them. It might be based on like demographics of the regions. I can't say for sure. I really don't know. But I think it's a fair, seeing that number to me, it's like, yeah, that seems fair. That seems accurate. Because, the living wage is different than a minimum or even like a subsistence wage, right? Like they're not talking about meeting the bare minimum to have just enough food in your fridge and like the ability to pay your rent.
Yeah, it's the living wage, not like the surviving
right.
wage.
Yeah. It's not just basic subsistence. They're talking about living, again, not living luxuriously by any means. Obviously it's less than $20 an hour. It's not luxury, but I can't remember the exact wording that they use, but it's about like being a productive member of your community.
Active in your community.
Active in your community. There you go. So that makes sense. I didn't think it was all that surprising. What is kind of surprising though is that you see these living wages reaching, well above $20 an hour in some cities, mostly, like Toronto.
Yeah, I'm screwed. It's $22 for me.
And like that's getting like really, really high. You know what I mean? Like there are obviously like career jobs out there that pay considerably more than $22 an hour, but like an increasing chunk of the economy is 20 and below, like an ever increasing amount of jobs, especially for starting out. And it's so tough to think about that, and a little disheartening because like now that I'm part-time, I'm starting to pay back my student loans, and I'm like, man, that's just like a chunk every month for, they say 10 years. Lord willing, I don't have to pay it for 10 years. I can put in a little bit more, but then that's just going to cost me more every month. So it's like, I don't know, thinking of entering into the, into like a career, most likely making $20 or less. So I'm like riding that living wage line, and then having something like student debt really just anchoring me down is kind of frightening. But I don't know, not to start it dark, but what are your thoughts since you're graduating this year?
Yeah, not great. But yeah, especially I'm from Toronto, and seeing that like $22 was I think it was the highest of all the cities in Ontario, which makes sense, was not great. But I think this is in the document we have in a little bit, but like the difference between the minimum wage at I guess now it'll be 15 versus 22. It's quite a big difference. But again, hopefully, the entry level jobs will be a little bit closer to that $22 per hour range rather than 15, which I feel like, with a university degree, you should be getting more than minimum wage, right?
Yeah. I'm of the opinion that like minimum wage should be, living wage. And then because you've got a university degree, whoever's employing you should be paying for your degree at some point, like over a period of time. Yeah. But like your job should pay off your
That's
degree.
The point of the degree.
The point of it. Yeah.
I would take $15 an hour if they agreed to pay my student loan.
Yeah, for sure.
Just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Anyone out there, if that's an arrangement you want to have with any of us.
But the disparity between the living and minimum wage is, considerable. But I'm somewhat optimistic about it. I mean, at 15, it's...
Sorry, what was it before?
Well, it's been going up for quite a few years now. It's like 14 and 30 cents.
Right, so this latest is like 70 cents more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
And they just upped it 10 cents or something like a month ago.
So 10 cents.
Well, that's kind of the standard, especially like with the conservative government, your standard minimum wage increase. So I think this latest was is an election thing, which she also mentions in her article, Devani, that because the election's in June, right? And as we've said before, they are all the parties are locked in on election time now. Yeah, $15 an hour I think is a way for them to, well, in the announcement he posed with a couple union heads. So that plus the weird, like the random hodgepodge of things, the right to disconnect stuff we talked about last week.
Yeah.
That, so like this plus those random assortment of labor things, I think is their attempt to shore up any type of labor sympathetic vote, which I'm sure for them must be fairly minimal. But
I mean, I think like the demographic of like people who like support Doug Ford are like people who are like someone's dad. So it's like generally the people that I see who are like rah rah woo Doug Ford are like generally like pretty like blue collar conservative older dudes. Mm-hmm. But so like those are like labor union people.
Yes, but they're not. It's total. Well, most private workplaces have it set up where you have the old. It's true, like the old people who came in on like better contracts, and then now they have it split for the new ones who get to be treated like garbage. It's basically an excuse for them not to have to offer the same union benefits that used to be offered for new hires. Like where my dad works does that. I know he's not alone. Like that's pretty common for automotive industry. And so those people that you're talking about often fall into that latter category where they just snuck in and got, pretty substantial benefits of the unions. Right. And so that kind of like working class blue collar vote is like kind of like an old guard who's making really good money and has like pretty decent on the job benefits. Whereas like now this living wage and like minimum wage stuff is like appealing to, or trying to appeal to that like new crop, people basically our age who have nothing. who almost certainly are not in a union, and if they are, they're in crappy unions like that, where they are treated like second-class citizens in their workplace. So like, I don't know the effectiveness of right, because like this doesn't appeal to those people who have benefited from the old union,
Yeah, they're
right,
not making minimum wage.
No, they're making good money. They get lots of vacation time and stuff.
Yeah.
And like
massages, like that little stipend. You know that one that's like $500 for like massages and
On
like
your insurance.
chiropractor.
yeah. Non like just like the random assortment of insurable
insurance.
health stuff. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I mean. They come from kind of a different crop of people, which I think is why they support them, because they don't feel the brunt of like new labor policy.
Yeah,
that
$15 an hour, let me say, is not that much.
Right.
It's, yeah, like I live with like 5 roommates, and like working for $15 an hour, I would have to work like more than 40 hours a week to like pay rent and buy groceries and like, you know, live.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
And that's absolutely what you were saying before about like the match. It doesn't really match the 15 minimum wage with the living wage, especially in some of the cities like the Torontos and the Montreal. And although this was just Ontario, but I'm sure Montreal's an expensive city like Vancouver. Like all the big cities are going to be quite more than
living
$15.
Wage is going to be exorbitant. I would even expect a little bit for some of the smaller places too, just because.
Well, this St. Catharines is what 18? Yeah, something like that.
Right, but this St. Catharines, you know, I know Toronto people think it's small, but it's actually one of the biggest cities in all of Canada.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not. I mean, it says that there's not a lot of big cities in Canada,
yeah,
but still,
there's 3.
It's also got the vibe of like several small cities in a trench coat.
Yeah, it is. It's weird. Yeah. That's a very good point. It is weird because like where Brock is located, it's like Thorold is one side of the road and St. Catharines is the other. Like Welland is somewhere here. Like it is the Niagara region's kind of weird.
Yeah, and it's like there's so many different little pockets of St. Catharines. But anyways, yeah, it is one of the biggest cities in the country.
Yeah. Is this the same pile of rubble I saw last week?
Yeah.
Like as someone who's from like a smaller city, like I'm from Brantford, and it is one of the more affordable places to live in Ontario and like Canada in general, and there are reasons for that, but it is one of the, like recently we've had like a couple of like condo developments go up because like Hamilton was getting too expensive for people who were commuting to the GTA, so they're like moving to Brantford now. And I like checked, and the living wage in Brantford is around like $16 an hour, so like still like relatively low compared to like Toronto.
They'll ruin it shortly.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like
put another like Wayne Gretzky museum.
I mean, I will say the thing about Brantford is it's a city that like inherently resists gentrification, which I think is funny. But yeah, it's the living wage in Brantford, which is like the place you go when you cannot afford to live anywhere else, is still more than the minimum wage.
Right. No, exactly. I'm not sure anywhere it could be the minimum, which is kind of sparked the question I wanted to ask you guys. Is like, is it possible to make the living wage and the minimum, like to join, like, is that actually a possible thing that could happen? Or is there like, I mean, none of us are economics people.
Yeah, I don't
like,
know.
Are there like economic forces that seem to like make that impossible? Because I'm curious if it's even possible.
I don't know.
Made up anyway.
Right. But it's like, is it just permanently made up in a way that some people are going to be like...
I think the way that people talk about it sometimes when they're like, if you raise the minimum wage, the price of things will go up by like 10 cents maybe. Mm-hmm. And like if the person who's like, I don't know, making my dinner can feed their family, I'm willing to pay 10 cents more for whatever I've ordered. And it's very much the minimum wage has not gone up consistently with inflation. So people who say that inflation will like skyrocket if you raise the minimum wage that just doesn't line up, because if the minimum wage has not raised with inflation, that's not consistent.
I think I remember like when I was starting out in high school, which I guess would have been like 2014. I think it was like $12.50 an hour. I think that's like the earliest I remember. So it's been, what has it been, like 8 years since then, and it's gone up.
And everything
like
else is
$2.50,
super expensive.
Yeah, and it really only went up under the Liberals, because it was supposed to go up to $15 an hour.
In like 2016, wasn't it?
No, right after the election, it's like 2018.
Yeah. Okay.
but then they lost in June, and Doug Ford won, and then he was against raising minimum wage. Still is. I think it was just a political move to get to that 15, because like it's kind of
a nice rent. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
become a slogan too, right? Like 15 an hour has become like
it's been a slogan for so long that 15 is no longer a living wage.
That's what a lot of people are saying. Like Doug Ford supporting types, right? Like dads, as you mentioned, would be like, "Hey, you got your $15 an hour, right?" Like,
5 years too late.
Exactly. That's not what people are even fighting for anymore. Like it's kind of the issue with that incrementalism approach to things.
Yeah.
Like, by the time you get what you wanted, it's like so far late to that. 2014. Sorry, I just got it up. 2014. It said it was $11.
Ooh.
And then the big jump was 20. I remember this. In 2017, it was $11.60. But then 2018, it jumped to $14 an hour.
That actually is big.
That was a substantial jump. I do remember that.
I
was
remember
working retail at the time
me too.
and benefited from
Right.
that.
I remember my first paycheck after the minimum wage went up, and I was like, oh my God, this is so much money.
Yeah.
And because I was like 16, 15, like a child, I was very much like not understanding that still was not that much money.
So on here it says it is tied to the Consumer Price Index, CPI. So, but I'm just assuming that it's like tied to it at a rate that's substantially lower on purpose. So every October 1st since 2015, it's gone up that little incremental bit, and then they've kind of added like that raise in 2018 was added like substantial, right? Like as a political move outside of the CPI. And they also did get rid of the liquor license.
Bartenders
change.
Make more now.
They'll make
liquor
15 now.
Will make. Or will no? I think it said it went up.
It said the full. They'll go to the regular. Yeah, they're gonna get rid of it. The liquor.
I appreciate that.
That's a tongue. The liquor.
Liquor servers is what it is.
Wage, yes.
So it's bartenders and like.
So they
servers.
were less. They were at like 12 something.
Well, wasn't that because like servers like work on tips?
Yeah, and they do, most of them.
Yeah.
It's still not necessarily fair to put that on.
Yeah.
Consumers to make up like the slack for your wage. Like, hey, if you're doing well and like getting collecting tips, then like good on you, right? Like,
I think when you tip someone, it should be like, this is like your employer is covering like you making enough money to live, and here's something nice for me because you did a really good job. I hate that it's like I'm also paying part of your like life.
I hear another opinion piece.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. It should be set up this way. Well, should be more the minimum wage, personally, I think, but they definitely should be equal at the very least. And I do think tipping makes more sense in that sense. You see in the States, like, because before the pandemic, we traveled quite a bit, but like it's increasingly becoming common that you have like mandated gratuities, and I know it's in some places here too.
Yeah,
that like it's tacked on, but like that's just, to me, that's so absurd, right? Like
just pay them that.
Yeah, exactly. That's on you to be paying them that.
It is
the restaurant running this.
As
place.
A like patron, it is a little easier because you're like, okay, I didn't even need to worry about this. It's just built into my tab. But from the, like you were saying, from the restaurant or whatever the service is, it's a little weird.
It's yeah. It does kind of take the guessing work out of it, but like add it to the price. Like they're like sneaking this additional cost in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like it should be on you to be paying the workers properly. So like that should require you to raise the prices of menu items, right? Like I don't know. Like there should be a way to do it that's less like, I don't know. It's just a weird way to go about tipping to me. Like that's not what tipping is supposed to be.
I think and like I saw this in a tweet, but also like it did resonate with me as a former fast food worker. Someone talked about like the average price of a Big Mac in like 1990 something, and then what the minimum wage was then, and then the average price of a Big Mac now and what the minimum wage was, and it was like a huge difference. Like you work for an hour in like 1990 something, you can afford like 10 Big Macs. You work for an hour in 2021, you can afford 2 Big Macs.
I cannot believe how expensive like fast food in Canada is. Like McDonald's, like a Tim's breakfast combo is like close to $10.
As a Tim's connoisseur,
I
think it is like $10.
I know, it's insane.
It's absurd. And it's not good.
It's awful.
Okay.
That's why I make my own breakfast.
menu price in Canada, Big Mac, $5.70. So you can almost afford 3.
You could afford 2.5.
Wow.
I remember when I was working at like KFC.
You can get a Big Mac with no meat.
No meat for $4. Yeah, you can put lettuce on it. It's for all the
bread and Big Mac
it's just
sauce.
bread and lettuce and the sauce.
It feels so disheartening to be like holding like, I don't know, the stupid little like awful KFC chicken sandwich and look at it and be like, this is worth 45 minutes of my time, of my life that I don't get back.
It tastes so good, though.
It doesn't.
What? You don't? Oh, yeah, you worked there.
I've been at KFC in
I had
years.
my hands in the chickens, Noah.
Fair enough.
I've always thought Popeyes was better, though, if we're
You're
talking
right.
like...
I just love chicken sandwiches.
Yeah,
I'm
but
going to a fast
I
food
like
place.
Popeyes better.
I do like
I
the
love chicken sandwiches. I know Chick-fil-A is a terrible company, but Lord, their
Oh my god,
chicken sandwiches
man,
are so good.
the one in Toronto I think it's the only one in
Sorry.
Canada.
I can't be caught
I'm
on a
sorry.
hot mic saying that I like Chick-fil-A.
I the first time I had it was
I
in
don't like Chick-fil-A. I like their chicken sandwich.
yeah, I had it in the first time I had it was at an Orlando airport at like 5:30 in the morning, and I'm like, I've never had this before, so give me some fried chicken at 5 in the morning. But the one in Toronto, that's like I think the only one in Canada. If it's first of all, it's at a huge intersection in the city. It is lined up out the door and around the block 24/7. It's insane.
Homophobic chicken.
I actually
I
still
know.
think Popeyes is better than all of them.
Yeah, I think you're right. They have the better. I'm a chicken tender person. And they have the
Same.
best
And there's a
chicken tenders.
Popeyes near my high school that made much money off of us.
But we're way off topic.
We're so
Yeah.
off topic.
But was there anything else we wanted to add on minimum wage stuff?
You should pay people enough that they can survive and then also go to a movie once a month.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? You know how much money movie popcorn is?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You should
No,
pay
go
people
to
enough
the
that they can
movie.
do it.
Not buy
just
them.
go.
Yeah, there's $1 and
Go
also
and
they
not
should,
yeah,
Go and
sneak
sneak
in
in
the
food.
snacks.
Yeah.
they should go to the this is
That's a
little
problem.
bit
You
off
can't sneak
topic,
in
but
popcorn.
the Cineplex in my hometown, there's a Dollarama right next to it. It was the best thing in the world because you could like go to the Dollarama, get all the candy you wanted, stuff it in your backpack, and then go to the Cineplex. So you should pay people enough that they can do that.
Years and years ago, you guys know where the theater at the Pen.
Yeah.
So that, like, when you walk out of there, and there's the government building,
Yeah.
the passports. So that's been a million different things. But growing up, at one point, it was a bulk bar.
Oh, that's-
Literally,
Just
it's
sacks
so
of
close. It was just
stale walnuts.
no, but the
Cumin.
candy,
Oh,
it was
the
just
candy,
it was
yeah.
just it was absolutely perfect placement for that.
Yeah.
They do have the Dollarama up there. I mean, it's a little ways up the road, but it's not that bad.
Yeah,
But, like, that
there's
was literally
Dollarama in
like
the Pen.
you could walk over there and walk right to your movie. It was perfect, but
Very
that was
convenient.
many things ago. Now it's just a sad government building.
Everything eventually becomes a sad government building.
All right, so the next article we're going to get into was one written by Haytham Nawaz, our general assistant, who talked about different songs or, in some cases, video game soundtracks that you can listen to while you study. And yeah, we were talking about this before, that Haytham's suggestions are like quite out of the box. But I cannot listen to music with words while I study because I'll just get distracted. So I'm really no use to this conversation, but I'll throw it out because Holly, you mentioned you do this frequently. So what are some of your go-tos for studying?
Yeah, I kind of have to listen to music while I'm studying. I don't know. I think it's because I have a brother and a sister, and they're both very loud, so I got used to turning up music to sort of like drown them out. There's sometimes where like I need to focus like super hard, so I can't listen to like a song. Like I like to like hum while I'm studying, or like just like sing a little bit. But if I need to like study super hard and get something done really fast, I'll listen to the Mario Kart soundtrack, and specifically Coconut Mall from the Mario soundtrack, specifically at 1.75 speed. And I I did that a lot more often last
Is that
semester.
like lap 3 speed? Like
Yeah, it's lap 3 speed.
Can we play that, or will we get in trouble?
It's the
Yeah,
one where it's like
copyrighted, but I know that song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We'll
that
play
one.
it after.
Yeah.
I think that's very funny. But I also
That's
have
hilarious. And you were making, well, not making fun, but we were all just kind of saying how out of the box Haytham's suggestions are, but then you come and
Yeah.
it's Coconut Mall. It was
play your life at like montage.
I do.
speed.
I listen to a lot of stuff at like 1.75 times speed. It's a problem. Not music though. I'll also like listen to Like I like sort of like alternative rock, like a little bit of punk in there. So there's one album that I really like. I think it's called like Do You Think You're Clever, and it's by the Shaker Hymn. And that's just a good one. It makes me feel like I'm in like a little study montage. There's like a Gang of Youths album that I really like. There's a couple Regrets albums that I really like. I'll listen to that kind of stuff. Sometimes I'll just like toss on whatever playlist I'm listening to. But yeah, I do have to have music, and I do have to have it fairly loud. I also find that I can't wear headphones. I have to be playing it out of my laptop speaker for whatever reason. So yeah, that's what I tend to listen to while I study. I do. Yeah.
When I'm on campus, I'll always have like my AirPods in, but I just don't have any music playing because it's a good people deterrent to have AirPods in or something. And especially when I'm on campus and I'm just trying to like focus and absorb material.
Fans to approach you.
Huh?
You don't want your fans approach
you. No, but you know, like no, if you're in line or whatever, are you gonna ask the guy with headphones in or without, like a question, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you just have like a straight face, like.
Yeah, you're just like looking forward. So I feel like, but it's also like I'll just have the noise canceling thing going, so that helps.
Just silence.
Well, that helps too, because especially if I'm reading, like Lord knows I have enough trouble absorbing like peer-reviewed academic articles. Like I need as much help as I can get, because my God, they're boring.
Yeah, comprehension stuff. I tend to agree. I usually don't have any words, but for some stuff I do. So I'm going through my iTunes library right now just to be refreshed. But Mac DeMarco's This Old Dog.
Oh, I'm a big DeMarco fan.
It's a fantastic album for doing work, because every song is basically the same, and it's just like so basically nothing. Like there's almost no music. It's just so low and like basically lo-fi. It's just like such a.
I like
Salad.
I think Salad Days is his best album by far. But yeah, I unfortunately, like, especially if I know if I am going to listen to music while I'm studying, it's got to be something I don't know very well, you know? Because if it's like, if I know like the song very well, I'm going to in my head like pay attention to the words. So it's got to be something relatively new.
Yeah.
Maybe I should start listening to Abba.
I'm big on like pop stuff, like old pop. So like
old pop. Ooh.
Yeah, well, like Abba and stuff like that. It's like 70s pop rock stuff. So it's just like,
that's fun.
Yeah, like that's, I mean, they have lots of catchy hooks, and you know what I mean? Like you're singing and being actively a part of it. So like I'm totally the same way as what Jonah's saying. That's why this kind of other side of my tastes kind of dominates my like casual listening for working and stuff. I'm trying to find, I had a few others.
I also
Lumineers is okay for background too.
I do love a good Lumineers. I also find that when I'm studying, I will listen to like early 2000s pop punk, especially if it's something that I don't want to be studying for, because all that music is just like, I hate my life and everything's bad. I'm just like, yeah, it is. I don't want to read this article.
You have a crazy brain.
I do.
It's awesome. What was another one I had? Oh, Peach Pit. They have good stuff for that too.
I love Peach Pit.
They have nice chill stuff for that. We have obviously we're coming from different places for studying music.
Yeah.
Like mine is all just so low key, and you're just like, turn it up to 5 times speed. Like, the fastest like thrash metal and
it's not
punk.
thrash metal.
I can listen to some music while I'm studying that is either only instrumental or very minimal words.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking like Pink Floyd is a good example because they're like long songs. That's good. Minimal words, mostly music. So that I guess sort of checks all the boxes for me.
There's no other time I think I can really handle Pink Floyd. So maybe
aside from studying.
Yeah, I can respect that they're great, but they're just so not for me. But studying seems like a
quite good
time for it. Because like I've tried, and again, it's just like you said, the long songs with very few words, and like it goes against my pop rock sensibilities.
2-minute songs.
I
am a big fan of long songs, which is I think an unpopular opinion. But like when in the winter when I'm like on the bus or walking somewhere, I like the 8-minute song, so I don't have to like pull out my phone and like switch it, you know. Yeah, but those
it'll shuffle, and like it might not be the exact song you want to listen to in that moment. I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
See, I do my playlist in order.
Yeah,
I know, but like that,
but you might change your mind.
Exactly.
No.
Really?
No. I play it like an album, like I've made an album.
Structured, Noah.
Yeah, I'm very structured. As you know, I've have a lot of folders. And
Yeah. I'll do the same thing. I'll be like on the bus, and I have to walk like 10 minutes from my bus stop to my house, and I'll be on the bus being like, okay, let me pick the exact songs that I want to listen to in the 10 minutes it's going to take me to walk home and put them in the queue. So yeah, that's a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of Frank Ocean Pyramids, 9 minutes long. Also, incredible song, but it's long too.
Grateful Dead.
Of course, that makes a lot of sense.
They have fantastic low-key study music.
Yeah.
They're good. Why does that make sense?
It just, everything I know about you tells me that you would enjoy the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, casually. I'm not like a huge...
You're not a Deadhead?
No. But like, they have an amazing greatest hits album, and it's one that you can just kind of play any song through, and it's really fantastic.
I love a greatest hits album to study. David Bowie greatest hits is one of my favorite study greatest hits albums.
Good. First Aid Kit, another good band. Lots of chill music. Oh my God,
look at you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lots of chill music. So that's kind of my study vibe, working vibe.
Chill vibe, study vibe.
I'm not mostly I'm not a music person. I'll listen to like relaxation videos and like ASMR videos and stuff.
That can help sometimes.
People just like rustling with things.
Yeah,
like,
I've never got that. Like you brushing your hair 10 seconds ago.
Yeah. But like for 20 minutes.
Right.
It's just something to have in the background.
I'm very much a person who can't focus most of the time when there's like silence. Like writing exams is my worst nightmare because it's so quiet.
You got like all the people coughing. Maybe not now.
That'll help.
Honestly, I'm convinced people do that on purpose in the exam rooms. Just like cough. Yeah.
It's definitely for cheating on multiple choice for sure.
Oh, like have a secret code or something?
Yeah. Love it.
Interesting.
Code.
Definitely. I'm sure that has something to do with some of that.
I definitely never did that in high school. I'll also listen to podcasts sometimes. If people say that I'm insane.
I agree. That's worse.
When I'm reading, that's insane.
All the time.
What happens with me is I'll just, if I put on a podcast, I won't. Either one or two things will happen. I'll like read a page or whatever of my reading and go, I don't remember anything, or I'll like look at my phone and be like, what were they talking about the last 10 minutes on this podcast? I just one or the other.
You have to pick one.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't know both.
I can do a reading and listen to a podcast at the same time, especially if it's a reading that is something totally different from what the podcast is. So I'll listen to like a podcast about I listen to a lot of sports podcasts, which
me too, but I can't study.
So I can listen to a sport podcast, especially if it's like about a topic that I'm already a little familiar with. So it's okay if I tune it out every now and then do the reading at the same time, and it actually helps me absorb information better. So crazy brain, you are correct.
Your brain is insane.
It is in fact. I am in fact built different. Okay, so the last article that we're going to talk about is another one of my opinions. This one's, I think, a little bit lighter. There's no high stakes in this opinion, I don't think. I wrote about Christmas, which some of you might be saying, that's a little early, don't you think, Holly? And I'm like, that's my point exactly. I wrote about how early it's too early to start blasting Christmas carols and putting up your lights. Some people like to start celebrating Christmas on November 1st. Some people, halfway through November. I personally think that it's like the right-ish time around December. No one in my family agrees with me about that, so they are very much like 10th of November people for Christmas. Some people don't celebrate Christmas, and there are other holidays in between there, and I wrote a little bit about that and how there is a little bit of an oversaturation of Christmas. It's 2 whole months that get Christmasified. So I guess I just wanted to ask you guys, how do you feel about starting up Christmas and the holidays so early? I know Jonah does not celebrate Christmas.
Oh, you're throwing that to me. I thought Noah was going to take that.
Or Noah can go.
No, well, okay, yeah, no. I, as the lone Jew on the panel here, I may, perhaps it's because I've never celebrated, but I actually have now flipped that I think Christmas is better than Hanukkah. But as a kid, I was like, obviously, the other way around, because I'm thinking 8 days of gifts. But as I've grown more cynical and bitter over the years, it's just 8 mediocre things that you got to drag it out, day after day after day. Whereas Christmas, it's one day and you get it over with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we still have multiple Christmases.
Yeah.
We still have my family and then other sides of family.
Yeah.
So it still gets stretched out a little bit. But I'm a big Christmas person. I'm a big fan. My family's big fans. Our Christmas tree is up.
Do you do a real one?
No, we used to.
I think that's smart.
Yeah, now fake.
Yeah, I'm a fake Christmas tree person.
It's pretty awesome. Now the second year in, it's it's nice that it still
Yeah.
looks good. It's like, okay, this is working.
Yeah,
This
there's
makes
no
sense
cleanup.
now. And it's nice
No
because
fire
the lights
hazard.
are on it. The lights
Right.
are already in it. So I literally took it out of the box. It took like 5 seconds. So now I have to put the ornaments on, which comes at a later stage. Because
okay.
you do the tree right away, and that's it. The
Right,
Halloween,
you're really dragging it out.
the Halloween fall stuff goes away. Decorating is a big deal. My mom always likes to decorate with all of us. We don't usually help her very much, especially not in recent years. But she tries to get someone dragged along to decorate the tree. But no, I honestly, I love it. Love celebrating it early. I'd probably say I've been like the after Remembrance Day person.
Mhm.
And I think that's probably fair. Like, I'm not really doing anything personally to start celebrating it. So, like, I don't know. Because like the Christmas lights in the falls are up.
Yeah.
This coming weekend.
Mhm.
So like, we'll probably go see those shortly, like in the next week or two. Those are great. I don't know. If you guys have
I
been
do
out
like
there.
lights.
You ever seen those?
They're just nice.
Yeah. When I was young.
Oh, they're much better anymore.
Oh,
these
really?
days. They look fantastic. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah, I'm a fan of a good Christmas light. My family used to do a thing every year. We would drive around to like all the rich neighborhoods and see what lights they put up. And I did.
There's no
enjoy
Christmas lights on any of them. It's true.
Funny.
Do you know put lights year round, or you just go once a year?
What do you mean?
Like you have the lights on your house year round?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Some
That
people
is
do,
tacky.
and they just flip a switch in December.
That is tacky.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it is.
How do you feel about Halloween lights?
No,
They're
come
cool.
on.
My family does that.
Like
That's
the
fun.
Christmas lights just turn black and orange?
You can't turn a light black.
Oh, yeah.
Black light doesn't work.
Right,
they'll
but
put up,
orange,
like-
you know what I mean?
No, we don't have like lights that stay on our house full time. Like it's like my dad and my sister bust out the ladder and like
Yeah,
risk
no,
life
that's
and
what you're-
limb every time.
Yeah.
And my mom makes them hang up both Christmas and Halloween lights, so it's like purple and like orange.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah, that's what it would
spooky
be, purple,
stuff,
orange.
and like a skeleton with glowing eyes.
Interesting.
Right.
I think Halloween decorations can be fun.
I love a good Halloween.
I don't
decoration.
like
They're
the
neat.
ones that scare me.
Oh, we did this.
I didn't like
my
Spirit
house growing
Halloween.
up.
I was scared.
Really? We had a thing that we never decorated our house, which was part of the scare factor, because you would think this is like an unassuming front house, but it was like a big, like, I don't know, maybe the size of your head, like a fake spider, and you would put it at the very, very top of the door, and it was motion censored, so when the knock on the door, it would fall down
Oh my
off a
gosh,
string.
That's so scary.
Many children ran off
Terrifying.
our porch.
That's evil, but
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious.
It's funny.
It was
Yes,
funny,
it
and
is
it wasn't like I was like 8. It was like this was my dad's doing, but it was pretty good.
That is funny. Scary though. I hated going into Spirit Halloween.
As a kid,
No, like this
now. Oh, sorry, that sounded really mean.
no, it's good. The ones, because I just don't like those things that were like meant to terrify. Like I don't like that.
That must be why
Terrified.
you're like such a Christmas person. 'Cause
Yes,
nothing
it's
at
a
Christmas
jolly.
is jumping out at you.
because it's happy.
Jolly.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. I can appreciate. I like that, and I don't know why it's restricted to Halloween, but like, well, as a Disney fan, I like that there's like animatronic, like robot characters, like that people buy and put in. Like, I think that's cool, but I don't know why it's like restricted to Halloween. Right?
You
don't
can,
really-
you can get like an animatronic like Santa Claus.
I know, but it's always a creepy Santa, and he just like dances in place. Like
That's
I like
the
that there's,
charm.
but I like that there's so much diversity of it with Halloween. Like
Yeah.
there's so many different things, and like they do some like really unique ones too.
Did
So
you,
I think it's cool, but I don't like them.
as someone who had never had to experience this, like, did you sort of figure Santa out on your own, or did someone spoil it for you? So I have a friend who has a
That's a
sister
good
who's
question.
8,
I
and
genuinely,
she's like starting to
Sorry to that.
suss out.
It was.
my parents never told me it
Yeah.
flat out. I think it was
So
something
you just
that
sort of
kind
started-
came
right.
with time, because I'm like a questioning. Obviously, I'm a very
Yeah.
questioning and cynical person.
Even
Obviously, I
as,
wasn't
like, a
cynical as
child?
no. Obviously, I wasn't cynical as a kid, but
Yeah.
I think my just like desire to figure stuff out just kind of would have led me. Like I've had that for a long
Yeah.
time, so I think it kind of figured. And like as the youngest too, it's like
Oh, you're the
you
youngest?
lose
That's
it.
hard. Yeah, that's
you-
harder.
it just loses it over.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember because I am the oldest.
Right. So you have
Um,
the
You had the
control.
responsibility.
It was my job
Yeah.
to like keep up the secret. And I remember I think I was like 10 years old. It was probably like a little like too late for me to figure out that Santa Claus was real. I had my doubts and questions, but also like I was a Catholic kid, so it was like if you can believe in God, you can believe in Santa Claus.
Sure.
But I remember I was also a very nosy child, so I found a receipt on the counter, and it was
Oh, for,
every
like-
Christmas present that my brother had gotten that year, and I was like trying to like rationalize it to myself. I was like,
Santa
maybe
needs it for
left it
taxes.
here. Yeah, Santa's gonna do his
It's getting
taxes
audited.
after. Mom and Dad are gonna send this to Santa Claus. But yeah, so I found it at like 10 years old, like on my own. But then, because I have a brother who is 6 years younger than me and a sister who's 2 years younger than me, my sister kind of just figured it out on her own. But my brother, who's now 15, is still trying to keep up the ruse that he like believes in Santa Claus, because he's like, I'm the last like bastion of us getting extra presents.
Yeah, my parents, I don't know if they still, up until like recently, they would write Santa on like one or two as like a joke.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
we all know that. As like a joke. They'd be like, "Oh, who got you that one?" And we're like, "All right." It's usually like the biggest, like,
Right.
the one that.
Did you guys ever have the shtick done on you where it's like a giant cardboard box and inside's like a gift card or something?
I remember
My mom does that.
my
all the
nana,
time.
who is like, everyone's like, she's just a silly old woman and she doesn't know things. She's actually the funniest person in the world. She once wrapped up a $50 bill for each of me and my 6 cousins, and she duct taped around the bill, put it in an envelope, put it in a bigger envelope, put it in a small box, put it in a medium box,
Duct
put it
tape.
in several
Like
big
a
boxes,
Russian doll.
and like duct taped them instead of gift wrapped them. So we were there on Christmas, like busting out pocket knives, and she was sitting there just laughing. And that happened to me a
Duct
couple
tape
times.
is a lot.
I thought it was hilarious because it was from this 80-year-old woman.
It's impressive she did it.
Yeah,
for all of you.
It was very, very funny.
One thing that we'll do at Christmas, which you reminded me, is like, it's like a game in that style.
Mm-hmm.
You probably heard of it, potentially. I don't know. Jonah probably
Is
not.
it?
You haven't heard of a lot of things. You didn't hear of Abba. So we
Yeah.
can't talk about Abba.
Sorry. No, I knew who they were. I just couldn't name like a song or I was out of the loop.
Yeah. What's Mamma Mia? What?
Come on,
I don't
Tommy.
know. I've never heard of that. What's a dancing queen? What? I don't know. Anyways, thing we do every Christmas, still do. So she'll wrap up. My mom will wrap up a bunch of stuff in Saran wrap, like
Yeah.
things like gum and like smaller gift cards and just things like that, like kind of trinkety stuff, but things you'll appreciate. But it's just like smaller things.
Yeah.
And so there's like whoever wants to take part. It's like even my grandparents have done it, and like so whoever, usually a group of like 8 people or so. And you'll pass around this Saran wrap ball. And it's like a really deformed thing. It's like, because there's stuff sticking out, and it's like really, she uses like 2 or 3 like of those like large Saran wrap full rolls. It's insane. But it's great. I love it. So we do that, pass it around, and you try to open it. But then the person in front of you, it's like if you're the one with the Saran ball, the person in front of you has dice. And they're rolling dice. And if they get doubles, then they get to grab the Saran wrap ball from you.
So it's like kind of like a white elephant.
This
version.
sounds so complicated.
But it's like no, it's very simple. So like essentially you're trying to get as many gifts out as you can before the person in front of you is rolling doubles.
I see.
Right?
Okay.
And when they roll doubles, you're done. So then it goes on to
No
the
more
next person.
presents.
So if there's a level,
more
if
gum.
there's one thing left, like one layer of Saran wrap left over something good, like sometimes there's a good one, like a $20 Starbucks card or something.
Yeah.
So like that's probably like the biggest one of the thing, right? The biggest individual gift. So like if there's like one layer of Saran wrap left and then that person rolls doubles, then you're out, right? Like you're out of luck on that. It's like that's kind of it's just kind of like a fun, fast-paced thing that we do, and you get like candy and stuff like that, and it's
candy.
like fun because like everyone, you know what I mean? Like we do it with my grandparents, my parents, and everyone. So just like a fun little Christmassy tradition thing that we do. I enjoy it.
We just give each other presents and like
roll for it.
Eat boiled potatoes. Unfortunately,
Not mashed potatoes.
My brother doesn't like mashed potatoes, so he always requests plain boiled potatoes.
Oh.
And also, like, we will eat mashed potatoes, but, like, my family doesn't season things.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So, like, I like to put, like, some garlic in my mashed potatoes, some, like, herbs, but no, they're, like, straight salt, pepper, butter, and then I'll, like, put pepper on top of it, and everyone will be like, what's wrong with the mashed potatoes? Why are you putting so much pepper on it? And I'm very thankful that my dad is the one who does the turkey, because he does season things. But yeah, maybe that's why I don't like Christmas. I think the other
reason... You just have crappy food.
Under-seasoned food, man. Huge problem.
They do bake very well. My mom makes really good sugar cookies, so that's nice.
They like sugar and butter.
They like sugar and butter.
Irish Catholics.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
that's probably why you're not a huge fan of...
My name is also Holly.
Oh, rhymes with like
it's
jolly.
every
and...
joke and holly is
Yeah.
like the stuff.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
plant.
So
Yeah,
much.
Every family member says that every year.
Every
Am I
year.
crazier? Was like Mrs. Claus' name Holly?
Yes.
Yeah.
In several Santa Claus cinematic universes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how I
Never
knew
heard
that,
hated
but
that.
I just thought her first name was Mrs. I didn't know she had a first name. That's so funny.
like Cher.
Holly Claus.
Holly Claus. Yeah, I didn't like that. There was always like the like, we're gonna hang you up on the door, or like
Yeah,
people would be like, let's play my favorite Christmas song, and it was Holly Jolly Christmas every time. And so I'd be like, I'm not jolly. So I guess maybe that's the reason why I'm not super big on Christmas, is that I was resisting the urge to be called jolly so much.
Yeah,
so
that's a lot. So,
I don't hate it. I don't hate Christmas. But I'm not...
or change your name.
I don't hate Christmas. It's just not. I don't love holidays. I don't love the I hate New Year's Eve. I don't love the expectation.
That's like an unofficial holiday.
It's fun though.
A fun time. Because then if the day's like bad,
New Year's Eve
you're
is good
because
you don't have to see family. You can be with. It can be with chosen family. It can be with friends. No offense, I love my family, but not like New Year's Eve is one of those. Same with like Halloween, which is also not really a holiday. You can just spend it with like, you know what I mean? It's more like ones that you spend with friends, which tends to be more fun. But like, you don't get the good food out of it. No one's making food for free, that's for sure.
Excuse me, I go all out for New Year's Eve.
You don't like it.
I know I don't like it. I like cooking for people and I like making snacks for people, but I don't like the expectation within myself that this is going to be a great night, and maybe so I lower my expectations, and that just means that I'm kind of meh about most holidays.
Interesting.
Yeah, they just happen, and I'm like, this is cool. I'm having fun. I'll decorate a tree. I'm going home this weekend to decorate my family's Christmas tree.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. Because that's another thing. Like, I've never not been there to decorate for Christmas. I'd much rather they did it in December when I'm done exams, because we were trying to coordinate a time for me to come home, and I was like, I have 36 hours this weekend. That's it. You can have those. They're also trying to put up a white Christmas tree instead of a green one, and I'm so anti that.
That's a bad call.
Is that to mimic snow?
It's to be like fancy and like sophisticated, but we also have Christmas ornaments that are like, I made this when I was 7 out of hot glue. Yeah, I don't love it.
Have you guys ever spent a Christmas in like a warm climate before? No.
This will be.
It is very weird seeing beaches and palm trees in 25-degree weather.
This will be my first one.
You're going to Florida?
Yeah, because the plan is still, knock on wood, to head out. Actually, no, Christmas Day.
Oh,
we changed the plan.
That's pretty good travel planning.
It's gonna be busy.
Yep.
Yeah, I know that was being sarcastic.
Yeah, it's going to be very busy. But it's just kind of what works now.
But you're driving, you're flying.
Yeah, driving.
Yeah, okay. So that won't be it. Like the airport is where the trouble would.
What can you do?
No, we're very much a family that's like, we got to see snow on Christmas or else.
Even though it very rarely
Christmas
snows
kind of
here.
has to be cold.
Yeah, well, exactly. I don't think like snow, it's like, you're not guaranteed that, but you're pretty much guaranteed
chilly.
Cold. Yeah. But it's very weird being in a warm place.
Yeah, I couldn't wear like shorts on Christmas. That wouldn't work.
Like, I can't imagine Christmas in like Dallas, Yeah.
It's
just like hot swim, like a Christmas barbecue, That's weird.
We don't have holidays really in the summer.
Canada Day, but like that's similar to New Year's,
and you're like outside. Yeah, it's not really a holiday. You just kind of have food. And, but like it's designed around like having barbecues and stuff. Whereas like, I don't know. I think the fact that you're kind of stuck inside because of the weather, facilitates those other holidays. Like, I feel like if the weather were nicer, you'd probably it wouldn't be as big of a deal, right? Because like this is the one thing a lot of people have to avoid seasonal affective disorder, right? Like Christmas is the one thread they can hold on to.
Going.
Yeah, got it.
My family's birthdays, everybody's born in the summer, so that's sort of like.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, there's like a week in July where we have like 4 birthdays and 3 anniversaries. It's nuts, but
it's beautiful.
Both my parents are December 20. I forgot what. 21st or 22nd. I always forget. I think it's 22nd.
That's right next door to Christmas, huh?
Right. Yeah, right there. Yeah, I know. For my family, Christmas is always like, we're all gonna sit in the same living room for dinner.
We just keep like games going. It's like we always just have something happening.
We're always just talking. Yeah. I'm just being interrogated about all my life choices.
Wow.
Yeah.
Little intense. But do you guys see each other a lot or no?
We see each other. We saw each other a lot when I was a kid. We see each other less frequently now. It's
like holiday family now.
Yeah, it's holiday family now, especially because me and my cousin were very close when we were kids because we're both little insane toddlers. Now we're like very different people. So
Grew up, makes sense.
Yeah.
But
dyed my hair green.
Seeing family regularly, I think changes it.
Yeah.
Because like all my family still lives in the city, and so we see each other quite like every week or two.
Yeah.
So like
it's quite often.
Very
That's a
often.
lot.
That's been most. It's less often than it used to be.
Yeah.
Like we're still at once a week or once every other week. So I mean, I think the holiday is more like you don't have that type of like small talk conversational, right? Because like we talk regularly,
Right.
like we see each other, we know what's going on roughly.
Christmas, I did want to ask Jonah, because you did not celebrate Christmas as a kid. Presumably you knew that Santa Claus did not exist.
I know. I actually
was that a secret that you had to keep?
Man, I wish I knew. I don't know. I don't really remember how I.
I'm not putting this on you, obviously. It's not you, but I grew up in a very Christian area. Went to public school, but like most of us celebrated Christmas and were like church-going Christian people.
Church-going.
So there was a couple families in like any grade that weren't, right? So without fail, those kids were the ones. Actually, it's not, and like
almost like spoiling it.
Pretty much every year you'd have a spoiler.
Yeah.
And you'd have a couple kids who would just be bawling their eyes out.
I don't know. I do. I think it is funny to envision like Jewish kids using that as like leverage. But I don't know. I don't really know how I figured it out, or someone told me. I don't know.
Points, I'm gonna tell all the Christian kids that Santa's not real.
You don't give me extra candy at the non-Christmas party at the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't. I wish I knew.
You could have used that.
Could have gotten some.
You didn't know how important it was. So
maybe that's perspective. Maybe that's what.
If you knew the value it meant to the little Christian kids, you would have had more power. You would have been more empowered to use it.
If only.
But no, these kids wasted it too. They just ended up not really having many friends around Christmas time. Well, because they're standing there like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't blame people for not liking them at the time.
Yeah.
They were just kind of being the party ruiner, basically.
Yeah, when I went to Catholic school for a couple of years, it was always a kid who was like a couple grades above.
Oh, that too.
Without fail, it was like because it was a Catholic school, so we didn't call it the non-denominational holiday party because it was Christmas or else. So they would run past all the little kids and they'd like shove their heads in the door and be like, "Santa's not real."
Oh gosh.
So that was fun.
Good Lord.
We were painting our little nativity scenes and just crying.
And that does it for another episode of The Latest. Thanks, Holly and Jonah, for joining me today to talk about these interesting and fun articles. And thank you all for listening. We really appreciate it. Remember that you can find the full articles we talked about here today and many, many more at our website, www.brockpress.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, all at the Brock Press. On top of following us on social media, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you can never miss an episode. You'll find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, and Radio Public. Just be sure to look up The Latest, the Brock Press podcast, and you should find us with no issues. You can also watch the podcast on our YouTube channel and on our website. With all that said, thanks again, and we'll see you next week for another episode of The Latest.